Welcome. We are live. Camera angles are a little off. Got lots going on tonight. And I actually have a Logitech C920 right next to this camera, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. I'm going to be unboxing this little puppy. I have not taken it out of the box. I haven't cheated. I have to unbox this tonight, talk to you guys about it. I have to hook it up. I've got to demo it against the Logitech C920, all live against my Canon 5D Mark IV. And if all goes smoothly, we're even set up over here to be able to move the Facecam by Elgato over there and then test it against the EOS R later if all goes well. And then also we're going to talk about this. So I don't know if you guys are using in-ear monitors, but my son got a set of Arias and we did an unboxing sorted together, which will be released this week. I was going to try to get a clip ready for tonight. I apologize. I always like to give you guys a sneak peek, but just getting everything else ready to be able to do the unboxing and show you the comparison Facecam against the other webcam, which is the C920 I've had in my studio for a long time, even before I had been using my DSLRs. So if everything's going good tonight, I see Freddie here. Thanks for coming, Freddie. Front row seat for you. If the lips are on, let me know. If we're in sync and you've got good audio, please let me know. So maybe you can say in sync, lips are good, and audio sounds good. I'm listening to myself twice, so I know I can hear the audio in the chat. So I don't know if the lips are on, so let me know, Freddie. I may be a slightly bit overexposed tonight because I kind of lit for the table and not just my face. And I've been having a bit of an issue with my Stream Deck controlling my my Elgato key lights. I don't know if I have a light that's starting to go out. It's this light over my head, but I reconnected it again today and it's given me issues. So I don't even have the ability on my Elgato Stream Deck XL right now to lower the brightness. I would have to go into the app, which I can. Thank you, Freddie, for the update. So if you're joining us live, thank you for joining us. We have two main focuses tonight, and that's unboxing the Elgato Facecam. And I'll talk a little bit before we unbox it here. It's just a few seconds why I decided to go ahead and get it and why I decided to unbox it live and why I want to kind of explore it tonight together. I've read lots of reviews, did lots of research. I have most of the specs semi-memorized. I even have some notes written down so I can make sure I cover the specs really well. I'm going to edit out the unboxing for a video to post up on here with a different introduction. So be aware of that. So I'm going to just cut out that segment and still not doing timestamps. I will work on that. We're not going to go as long this week as we did last week, 2 hours and I don't know, 22 minutes. I would like to keep this at least hour and 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes would be for question and answers. So we've got a lot to cover. And a few weeks ago, I shared how I'm now tethering my phone through my Apple 4K TV under my desk. And so I can tether and reposition this camera. I'm also monitoring the chat, both over here and actually right here. And then I have my iPad tonight with Mix Effects with the macro portion open so I can change cameras. Though I think I had an audio glitch at the beginning tonight. Seemed to be having an issue with my older converters by Blackmagic Design. I reached out to them. I got kind of an answer back. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I responded. So I'm waiting to hear back from Blackmagic Design. It seems like the newest firmware update, both here and at a venue I was at last week, we couldn't do any updates through the USB cable from either a PC or a Mac. We tried both, downloaded the newest version of the software for the 3G micro converters, and it covers a majority, it covers all of them. And then we tried to update the firmware inside those converters, both at the venue. We only pulled one and tried one, and it wouldn't work. We tried the Mac, it wouldn't work. We reloaded an older version of the firmware, like one back, and then tried to upgrade it. And it's almost like it will not communicate through the old converters, through the older USB port, where all my new converters updated just perfectly fine. So when I got my new HyperDeck Studio HD Plus, I updated my new converters that I bought, and then I got another one because I wanted to be able to come out of the SDI out, convert it to HDMI, and then run it into my BenQ monitor so I could see the data, because now you get data on that screen. And I can send that feed clean. That means no data on the screen to my monitor, or I can send it with all the data. And I really wanted to be able to show that. I'm working on a HyperDeck Studio HD Plus series. I kind of put that on pause when my converters weren't working correctly and trying to figure out what's going on with that. And then now I have this venue that I'm trying to help here in the local area, and they're struggling getting their converters updated as well. So the newer ones that have a USB-C port in them seem to upgrade fine, but anything prior to that that I've tried to upgrade, and I've tried, I have 2 of those converters in my studio with the older ports. I tried to upgrade both of those. So I say that to say that even in the intro tonight, I had some glitches and switched from my old HyperDeck Mini, Studio Mini, to my HyperDeck. I went back to the still image in the intro, pulled it, and popped in that video file, both my intro and outro, into my HyperDeck Studio HD Plus, the newer version, and then hit play and switch to that input away from the still image so that I could make sure we had audio tonight. And I may have had audio, but for some reason I wasn't getting audio tonight in my headphones from my Blackmagic Design as well. So again, if you're just joining me, welcome. I see Tony's here. Thank you for joining me, Tony. If you did not see the still image or read the notes tonight, again, 2 things we're going to cover mainly. Lots to cover in this first portion, which will be about this little baby right here. We're going to unbox in just a minute, and then we're going to hook it up live. I have not did the box. I didn't sneak and get it out. I mean, literally, it came late last week, and I've had it all weekend, been dying to use it, but I wanted to keep it in the box and do a live unboxing and share that with you for the very first time. And then I also have some new in-ear monitors. My son got the Arios. I got the Starfield. He got his a couple days before mine, and I got mine, I think 2 days ago. So I've been testing those out. So we'll talk about those. And I'll share why I've got in-ear monitors for here in the studio and how I'm going to use them for what I know right now, and really what the motivation was and how that came about. And that'll be in the second half. Again, we're trying to be an hour and 15 minutes tonight, the last 15 minutes being Q&A. And so I want to get to this unboxing and open this up, get it hooked up. As I was going to say, we're going to A/B it against the Logitech C920, which has been kind of the standard camera that everybody's been using. I'm going to have to bring those in through OBS. So I created an OBS layout. I'll go full screen with that layout after I get the new Facecam communicating. I already downloaded the software, and we'll talk about that. I didn't want to try to do that step live. And so it should hook up. I should be able to make some adjustments live to get that picture looking a little bit nicer. And then we will compare it against the Logitech C920. Also my 720p webcam, because a lot of people are just using those from their older phones or from their older laptops. And my laptop is not that old. It's the Asus ZenBook Pro Duo. Duo 4, it has 2 screens. It has a lower screen above the keyboard. And then it has the full screen, and it's a 15-inch monitor, and that only has a 720p webcam, which is interesting. A lot of laptops I looked at only had 720p webcams for gamers mainly, or Zoom calls back when everything was lower resolution. And now that we are streaming 1080p high def, there's even people streaming 4K out there. These webcams on these laptops really are not adequate, and that's why a lot of people invested in Logitech cameras. They're easy to find, Elgato's had some incredible tools, but they have not really focused at all on a webcam. So when that announcement came out, I believe in July, I got really excited about it, and I was already getting some other Elgato stuff, which we'll talk about a little bit tonight as well. But I finally wanted to take the leap to get this camera. I wanted to do some reviews here on the channel and compare it. And then my intent really, if it works like I'm hoping, is that I want to replace my Canon 5D Mark III and decide what I'm going to do with that camera and replace it with this Facecam coming straight down on my desk. And then temporarily just bring that in through OBS until I find a replacement. I don't know if I'm going to replace it with another Canon. I don't know yet, but that camera always sits up pointing down at my desk. And now I have moved it over into my A10 Mini Pro, and then I have to cut to a channel and cut to it to get it to come on the air. And let me just reset it because it will time out here. And that's the number one reason why I want to replace my Canon 5D Mark III is because of the timeout issue. Now I can get it to go almost 30 minutes because I have a battery in it, I have a bigger disc in it, and those things seem to be what caused it to go from like 15 minutes all the way up to almost 30 minutes, but it does time out in the middle of the show and I have to reach up there. So I keep it in reach, and we're going to be using it tonight to see the unboxing. So now I have a super source layout. I tried to create a macro and it gave me fits. So let me change my still image here and we'll cut to that and get unboxing. So I should be able to cut to super source today. I'm not going to use my macro because it's proven to me as ineffective. So that looks good. Let me get my phone up here, because I want to keep an eye on the chat while we're doing this. Welcome, Craig. Thanks for joining us. I've given a couple reviews of what we're doing, so I'm not going to do that again. So you might want to rewind if you haven't already seen the intro of this video. I don't know when you popped on, but I want to welcome you. And we've got Freddie's telling us where he's from, and we've also got Craig telling us where he's from. So we have Fort Worth, Texas here. We also have Caracas, Venezuela. And Tony, you can shout out here. I think these guys know where you're from, but if someone else pops on later, they'll be able to see that as well. So, okay. So I'm going to keep this chat open. And I may use that camera if things don't go good with my Canon 5D Mark III, but let me make this cut right now and see if we're good. There we are. So you can still see me, and now you can see this box. And I'm going to reposition my microphone here so you guys can still hear me. And let me know if there's any issue with audio. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. I have it right here in front of me. So this is the Facecam. I've got my handy dandy knife because you can see the seal is still there right here. So I've got to cut this little plastic deal. Actually, it seals right here and right here. There is no seal here, which I hate them here. So let me cut this and cut this side. And as we are getting this out of the box, I'll just say that this is a webcam. It is from Elgato, and it's called the Facecam. You see it right there. And I guess that's because it's going to be in your face. And pull it out of the box here and reveal for the very first time. I'm going to change monitors here. Make sure that I'm in focus. I made that mistake making a video, so I actually have the ability to go full screen over here on my monitor, waiting for it to refresh. And there it goes. So let me adjust this focus just a little bit here. There we go. Okay, so inside we have the little pamphlet, comes out that way, and then here's the camera, and then the accessories right here. Again, the plan is, guys, we're gonna open this live. So inside here, you have, it says quick start guide, and then it has it in a bunch of different languages right on the front, which is great. Open inside, it gives you some instructions, and as most people are these days, maybe you're like that. I rarely read the instructions right off. I like to just start messing with things. So, nice brochure, and we'll look at that later. So that comes in here, and then you have this packet of goodies. And inside this, I think we're going to find the USB-C to USB cable. There you go. And one of those little pamphlets that seems to come with everything Elgato. So it's a nice USB-C cable. We need to get it out, so I'm going to go ahead and unwrap it. Now, it is important to know that you really need to, this is uncompressed video. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. So it's going to be important that you do plug it into a USB-C port because that's what's going to make sure that it has low latency and that it works really well. These will go in my drawer. Knocked my headphones and my mouse down. Sorry about that. And so we'll set this down, and now we're going to get the camera out. And it's in this little container with their logo. So you can see the seal's unbroke. I guess I could have put it back, but I haven't had it out yet. And we're going to pull that out. And there you go. I already fingerprinted the front lens. Oh, it's got a cap on. I forgot about that. And I guess the key to this is just pull. And I kind of twisted and pulled and it popped off, but it does have a cap, which is great. So if you don't want anybody to see and you don't remember all the time to change the camera on and off inside your software, and lots of software have the ability to do that, I can actually hit the F10 key on my keyboard and it shuts off my ASUS camera, which is a great feature. I also have been putting on a little cover on it too, just to protect my privacy. So this is the camera, and checking focus here again. So you've got just the writing on here. It basically tells you the aperture Elgato prime lens, 1080p 60, 24 millimeter, 1.2.4. So it's a 2.4 aperture lens. And then it has the typical tilting top, like you'll see in the Logitech cameras. And then you have the ability to use this as a mount on top of your laptop. So this squeezes on the back. But the other thing I like about this, which is how I'm probably going to be using it, is that you can detach this bracket. And now you have the mount. And so it'll attach right onto all of the brackets that Elgato sells, just like their key lights or key light Air. And then they have the other flex arms and the different brackets. They even have a desk mount bracket now that comes in with the kit from Elgato when you buy the key light Air, which is a desktop light, and it's got a little mount about yo big, and that's weighted and goes in your desk. The ones that I have for the key lights are actually desk mounts, and I will get the camera out, my mobile camera, and show you those a little bit later. So there you go. There's a look at that lens. Look at the bottom. Then you have the USB-C. So you have a USB-C port, and it says it's 5 volt port, 0.9 amp, USB-C. And again, you have all of these little symbols on the side. Nothing there, but you do have the logo on the front. And there is a light right here that will light up when we get it hooked up. So what I'm going to do right now is see if you guys have any questions before we stop the unboxing. I want to talk to you just a little bit about the specs here. So I want to cut back to this camera. So we talked about the aperture. It does not have a microphone. That's important to know. It does not do 4K. It's uncompressed 1080p, and they obviously took the money. Retails for about $199 here in the United States. They took the money that you would normally put in going to 4K, and they invested it in the Sony sensor. So it's got a Sony Starvis CMOS sensor, which has been being used in security cameras. There are some other webcams out there now, cameras out there that have that sensor in them. When I did some research, I'm not going to talk about those tonight. Has an 82-degree field, so what's going to show behind you is 82 millimeter. It's a 24 mil lens. It's all glass, so they invested in the glass. They also, it does not have any autofocus, so it's a focus range of just under 12 inches, so about that far away from the front. to 4 feet back. So you have kind of a 3-foot focus plane, which is perfect for where the camera is going to be mounted over my desk. And if for some reason I needed to just use it instead of all the other equipment, not want to turn anything on, just use my, sorry about that, just use my microphone right here and then use the web camera, I can then have a better quality picture, more quality adjustments to it. And I'm looking forward to that part of the software that comes with it. That's called the Camera Hub. And again, I already loaded it on my computer so we can plug this thing in and get it fired up. So again, the focus plane is from 11.8 inches to 47.2 inches. It'll do up to 1080p 60. And again, uncompressed, so there is no encoding going on. It's a little bit larger than most cameras because it does have that CMOS sensor in it. They've got a heat sink, and it's designed probably bigger to let that heat dissipate. So, and people have said online that it does get a little warm. I don't plan on touching the camera, but other than that, and again, you'll know when it's on because it has a light, and so does my Elgato C920. It actually kind of lights up to the right and the left next to the microphone inputs. And again, no microphone, no 4K, and it does not have any autofocus. It is a set autofocus. And again, we talked about the aperture 2.4, which is great for getting the depth of field behind you and dropping that off. Obviously, if you have a 1.2 lens like I do in my kit, you can drop it off even more. Most of what I'm shooting now in my studio is f4 or f2.8. I don't usually bust out my prime lenses just because I like to adjust and zoom in and out. And we're going to use the zoom on this lens tonight to be able to adjust to get it to look very similar to the Logitech, and then also the Logitech and the Facecam looking like the same kind of framing and same kind of distance from me, the best that we can do. So again, let me just look at the chat to see if you guys, I'm going to clean up here a little bit first, and then we'll look at the chat, and then we're going to hook it up and get going with our side-by-side demo, getting it hooked up to the software. Again, that's called Camera Hub. And there's also the ability to integrate it with the Stream Deck. So I will demo that here in another stream coming up. And we will be cutting to this camera for the next few weeks just to give you guys kind of a better live idea of how I'm integrating it. Tonight, we're mainly going to focus on comparing it. So got the box packed back up, got the camera. So I'm going to plug in the USB into the back. See, port right there, plugs right in. I've got this all unhooked. And so I have and I'll get the mobile camera here in a second. And I have another microphone I can cut to tonight if I decide it's too hard to use this boom mic. I do have my overhead microphone right here off camera, and it's fired up, but it doesn't sound near as good as this microphone, so I'd like to keep going this way. So let me hook this up, and we will get rocking. Okay, so let me just look here in the chat. Good to see Stop and Think here from Buffalo, South Carolina, North Carolina. Tony, again, I should have remembered that, but I forgot it. And again, I'm a little, apologize. I think I'm just a little bit hot, and I now can't adjust my cameras, or actually I can't adjust the light. I'm going to turn it down here in a minute in the app. So I'm just looking to see if you guys have any questions so far. If you have any questions so far about the unboxing, I do want to answer those questions. I'm not going to share this part of this when I do the unboxing live, or when I upload it on my channel from the live. I am recording ISO tracks tonight. So let you know, I'm going to change this back. While that's resetting, takes a second to go back to multi-view. There it is. And thanks for checking in. Brian from South Carolina, appreciate. Been here before. I thank you so much. South Carolina, and lips are still good and audio is good. Thank you, Freddie. I saw that earlier. So I would be interested, guys, to know what your main camera is. I think I've seen that in Tony's live stream. And again, if you haven't subscribed to his, get over there. It's a great channel. Lots of information on IT stuff, and he has a giveaway going on right now, so go check that out. But I'd love to know what camera you're using or what camera you're thinking about getting. I told you guys what I was thinking about getting. And I want to show more of the box. We'll do that here in a minute, but I want to get this hooked up. So let me put my thoughts together here. First thing I want to do is I'm going to, I want you guys to see what I'm doing here. So let's go into my camera. So I'm going to screen mirror here to my 4K Apple TV here in the studio, which is hooked up to my A10 Mini Pro. And then I can cut from my overhead camera to that camera. And hopefully no one will send me a chat message. I just saw something pop up here. I thought I had all of that turned off. And then I've been using, I think I shared this with you guys. I'm using Filmic Pro. And so you get Filmic Pro fired up on your phone, and then you can see your camera. And then I've already kind of set this up. So I've got a Manfrotto mount here. I'll show you this, guys, real quick. Let's cut to this. So I have this already set up, and it's aiming at where I'm going to be putting those cameras. So I won't give you guys seasickness as I get it clamped on here. And I'm using the Joby mounts that are designed to, you just check that. That looks good. So we'll cut back to that. I'm not going to give you guys the picture-in-picture right away. I'm just going to cut to this real quickly. You can just watch me hook up the camera. So this is going to go right here. And this is part of, I want to show you guys this because this just came in the mail. Sorry. I have a link in the description tonight, but this is a new clamp from Elgato. You can hook it on things. I have it on a Manfrotto flex arm, and then it goes over here. This is that flex kit that you can get from Elgato. I think it comes just with this piece and this piece. I have 3 of them, so I'm using it here tonight. I also have it up here, and that's one of those normal clamps. And I also have one here on my desk, so we can move it over next to this camera, and that is the desk clamp, and it clamps right there on the desk. And the one that I have up here is clamped on, I think I've showed you guys this before, it is clamped right there on this swing bracket. And then I'm using this stand right now to bring in my Rode microphone, and then I have this wireless antenna that goes to this adapter that's in channel 3 right now, and I have it muted. So back to me here. So again, this camera is going to let you guys see me hook it up, and then I can cut to it for the side-by-side comparison. And I want to zoom in just a little bit here. One of the things to be careful when you're using Filmic Pro on your iPhone, and probably have to have a big monitor that you can cut to, sometimes you will think that you have the right exposure when you're using your multi-view and you have lots of windows opened up. Those little tiny screens are really hard to see focus sometimes on and see exposure. So last week I was shooting a video where this was my main, iPhone was my main camera for unboxing. And I went into my recording and it was all overexposed. And so I can't re-unbox this like the first time, even though I did shoot a new unboxing, put everything back once I discovered that. And one of the things I do all the time is when I get done with a shoot, unboxings are just one of those things that you can't really fix if you broke the seal and then the video's overexposed. So my main camera looks great, but the down camera was all overexposed. So when you are messing with the settings in Filmic Pro on your phone, just make sure that you view that camera before you show it. So now when I cut to this, I'm zoomed in a little more, and I could fix the exposure. I just really want you to see the Logitech C920, then my Canon 5D Mark IV, and I'm trying to get them all kind of at the same angle so you can see, and you'll see this in lots of demo videos online. So I can loosen this bracket up and then just spin this on. Try that again. So I'm just trying to get the distance about the same, and then because I have these flex arms, I can adjust this up, tighten it down, and then just position this as close as I possibly can. And I use the Manfrotto over here clamped to my desk. So again, now I can fire up this camera, plug it into the USB port, and we'll see where we're at. I'm going to use this, and they really recommend you don't use a USB-C hub, which is difficult with the new laptops, especially Macintoshes. You have to use a hub. In a Macintosh, I mean, I guess you could go directly into one of the USB-C ports, and the new Mac Pros have, I think, two. And they make hubs that plug into both of them that are designed to use both of those. But Elgato's saying that you really need to have a 3.0 port so that you can get the speed that you need to get. I'm still trying to adjust this camera so it's going to be flat. And then, okay, so let's plug it in now. And when you do these things live and you don't get a chance to practice, I can only cross my fingers. I'm going to steal. I have two mice I use, one at my laptop, Logitech, and I like these. I like to just move my thumb and not have to move the mouse. I had this one charging tonight just to make sure that I had one that was fully charged. So I took my Bluetooth adapter out. I'm going to just leave that right here. And now I'm going to plug in this camera. And we'll see if it comes up in the hub software. So let me fire up the software here on my laptop. Bingo, it popped up, and I'll show you guys what I see right now. I wanted you to see the camera right out of the box, and I'll adjust it because it's not where I want it, but that was fast. I mean, Logitech is way slower than that. This is uncompressed USB-C 3.0, and it rocked, and man, out of the box, it looks amazing. So I should probably share that with you or just leave you guys hanging. Yeah, let's have a cup of coffee drink. Freddie, are you doing a drum roll? I actually have two drinks. I got hot and cold, depending on how I'm feeling. But being I'm stalling right now, I know it's so mean. It's not right. I need to apologize. I'm really sorry. Who else is in the chat here? I am looking up here. That's the mouse that fell down. Let me scroll down here. I see some questions here. So headshot cam is Canon SL3. Thank you for that, Tony from Quick Tech Solutions, LLC. Overhead is Sony A6400. I like that camera. I installed one at a venue over in Snohomish, and they use it every week. Still learning how to use their Extreme. That's what they got, not the ISO. And I'm still doing some training online. Actually, not online, but over the internet right here from the studio, which is incredibly cool. What else did you say here? Over the shoulder shot is a Canon SL2. Wi-Fi camera is an iPhone 11. Wow, Filmic Pro. Good for you, Tony. high tech. So that's obviously coming into your Apple 4K or just an Apple TV. So you might as well add that to the chat. Let's see, Craig, I'm using a, how do you pronounce that? Moxia 12 megapixel HDMI camera. I think I've heard of that. I will have to look that up tonight. I apologize. I'm not ready to post that on the screen here. But Aaron Precki will do that live. I gotta say, Aaron, if you watch this video, so impressive. Let's see. I use primarily it for Zoom, okay? And I'm curious to see how it compares to the camera that you are unboxing tonight. Awesome. I'm glad that it's $200 camera, at least in the United States, $199, and it's got a prime lens, 2.4, uncompressed video. The Camera Hub software is sick. I'm looking at it right now. I'm gonna show you guys that here in a second. I need to go full screen here. And then let's see, do I have a macro that we can cut to? Keith and desktop, should we try it? Bang. It didn't roll into the live show, but it's up. So, wait a minute, that is not the one I want. So what is it with macros tonight not working? Let's see, side by side. I don't want to use that. Let's try this again. Did it just not go? It is my iPhone. Interesting. So let's just switch to that. Got my iPhone camera, so I'm still on screen, still got the logo up here. And man, I spent a lot of time getting ready for tonight for you guys, and I'm having an issue here. So I would be in box one, and I want to go to this for, so you see me twice. So the big shot is the Camera Hub software, and obviously having me up there in that location isn't the greatest. So let's just shrink me down a little bit more and get me out of the way. Just want to keep that on camera. I'll go to the bottom here. And I'm doing this right in the control software for those of you that have played with it. And it's faster in Mix Effects, but I don't have Super Source open right now in Mix Effects. I really just wanted to focus on having my macros, which obviously are not working. And then we're going to take box two and live move it up. So this stuff I do all the time, so it doesn't scare me. I do it when I'm making macros, but it's not being very helpful. So video preview is down on the very bottom, you can see, and I'm going to cover it up. So if I bring my mouse over here, you can see my mouse. So you have all these settings. So this is live right out of the camera. I plugged it in and it's live. I'm not positioned exactly where I would normally be. But if I go from that camera really quickly back to camera two, and that should be fine. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I should be able to cut back and forth here. So here's this shot and here's this shot. So it's pretty wide from that direction. I mean, it's the same distance away from my camera. I could adjust my camera to match this, and we're going to play with that a little bit here shortly. But really cool to have this software. So if you guys are watching my unboxing, this is the Camera Hub software. I plugged it into the USB-C port at the back of the Facecam, into one of my ports in my Thunderbolt dock. And my Thunderbolt dock is OWC Thunderbolt dock. I purchased about $269. I will put a link here later on the hub. It is Thunderbolt, so if you have a Thunderbolt port, you really want to take advantage of all of the speed that you have in that Thunderbolt port, so you need a dock like that. And they should be good enough to run the camera without a problem if you're in a USB 3 port. And then if you are going to use a USB-C hub, you may not get the kind of speed and stuff that you're looking for, and you may not get the picture you're looking for. So we can adjust this camera, but I want to talk right now about the hub software. So what I've been watching, and one of the things that attracted me is, number one, it's Elgato, so you can integrate it with the Stream Deck. Number two is that they really spent some of that budget that they didn't spend on autofocus. It doesn't have autofocus. It doesn't do 4K. So it has a focus plane of from about just under 12 inches to 4 inches. So I'm inside that, so I should be in focus, and I should be able to move back to 3 feet away from the camera because, again, it's got a 3 feet focus, and it doesn't mean you'll be out of focus if you go further. It just means that's where sharp focus is going to be. And obviously, if you could be between, 1 foot and 2.5 feet from the camera, it's even going to be better. And that's great for a desk cam. Even on a 32-inch monitor like I have, I can still not have the camera in the way of my monitor and get the perfect shot of my desk because I am not liking my Canon 5D Mark III. It's really kind of dated for me now, and I wanted something with sharp focus, really crisp picture, and I'll be using this for a while through OBS, which you're going to see here shortly. So if I turn off automatic, now I can adjust all of these things. I have the temperature, so if I want a warmer or a more cold shot, right? So you can go to real warm, and we'll go ahead and do it right now. So go to a warm temperature or go to a really, really cold temperature. It goes from 28K all the way up to 1205K. And so I turned orange. I can go up here and mess with the compression. I don't want any compression, right? I can actually go up here to the ISO and change that exposure setting and turn that from automatic off and change the shutter speed. So let's crank down the shutter speed. Oh, let's crank it down to see if I can get that exactly. It seems to go in increments. So 32. Playing with that live, I apologize. So you got centered weighted metering set here. So going to go back to automatic. Again, I haven't played with this. You got average and center weighted metering. And if you don't know anything about that, if you've been in photography or learned anything about reading lights or light meters, cameras have the ability to get their light readings somewhere in the frame. And I can actually get my light readings in my Canons from all over the frame. But when you get into the less expensive cameras, it's more and more narrow. So center weighted means that it's going to kind of focus on this guy right here. And so that's cool. And then average would just average the shot. So if I have the same kind of exposure in the back and same kind of exposure on me, then it's going to average all that out. So I can go up here and change the contrast. I can zoom. This is digital zoom. So I can zoom in and out. I would just adjust where the camera is located. I wouldn't do that because, again, if you're doing a digital zoom, you're losing some of the resolution. We're starting at 1080p, 60 frames per second. If you have your stream set for that, I don't. I'm literally streaming right now, guys, at 30 frames per second. We can also see the latency. So you can see my camera on the bottom of the screen and this camera. So there's the latency. I bet if I went to 60 frames per second, I'd have a tiny little bit more. Now, again, the camera is set, I believe, right now. I haven't looked at the settings yet. So auto set again in this section here. So I've got contrast settings, saturation, sharpness. I can zoom in and out. That's the input, the Elgato Facecam. I can save. The other thing that's really nice about this camera is it has flash memory. So let's say you do zoom in your bedroom and then you have a studio someplace else, or maybe you're going to share the camera with your spouse and you guys kind of both get the same lighting setup, and you don't want to have to try to open up the software on a laptop. You just want to go from one location, one PC to another PC, or one Mac to another Mac in the house. You can just flash save the settings. So I haven't set it up yet, but I can hit save right now and it'll flash save inside the camera. And so that means I could just unplug it, go someplace else. That's not true with a lot of the other cameras, especially like what I've been using, the Logitech C920. So all of these settings, again, I don't want to play with these too much live because I don't know how to use it yet. Here's the firmware up here in this little scrolly icon up here. So I can restore factory defaults. Status LED could be turned on and off, always on, on when streaming, and I have it on right now. We're streaming. So I can close that. So that's cool in the software. Click anywhere on the screen and that goes away. Again, we talked about the zoom. We talked about its 24 mil lens. So you can see it's 82 degrees from where I'm at. So the closer I get to it, the less of the background you're gonna see. And it just depends on what kind of shot you want. Right now, I wanted to get it to be similar to my Logitech C920. So again, these two, this section and this section, are for adjusting the picture. Then you have white balance down here. I can turn auto back on and I got auto white balance again, or I can turn this off. And then I have noise reduction and I can go between 50 Hertz and 60 Hertz. And that's if you're getting any flickering, which is if you've experienced that before, especially if you're shooting down at your ATEMs, that you have the LED lights in there, you're gonna get some flickering. You can also adjust the shutter speed to change that, though the rule is if you're gonna shoot live at 29.9 frames per second, basically, or 30 frames per second, or 60, you're supposed to double it for shutter speed. So if you're shooting 30 frames per second, you would go to 60. And if you were shooting at 29, or at 60 frames per second, you go to 120 shutter speed. So keep that in mind, but you can adjust that flash by doing shutter speed adjustments as well as this 60 Hertz or 50 Hertz for flickering. So that's kind of a basic look at the software. Down here on the bottom, you have the ability to change how you're shooting. So I'll change it right now. And you guys should be seeing that on the bottom left right here. So I can change it now to 30 frames per second, which is what my stream is at. So I don't know if that changed the latency. Again, I think picture in picture, it kind of blurred. So again, obviously more movement means more data has to be going through the camera. So let's just adjust this picture a little bit and see if I can get it looking a little nicer. So auto temperature's off. I like about 5000K. The white balance. I can turn on noise reduction just so you guys can see. I don't know if you see any difference on the screen. So I turn that off. Then I could go up here and change the contrast. It's set at 30% default. So let's just hop contrast up and down. And you can see what's happening with the blacks like on my iPhone. And then here's all three of these guys mounted side by side. So you can kind of see how they're located. I haven't gone to the Logitech camera shot yet, which we're going to do here in a second. And then let's go to saturation. So I can saturate the colors. If I really wanted the blues to pop, it makes me kind of go crazy. That was set at 60% default. So you can kind of adjust that. And then the sharpness, I don't really want to make my skin look any more sharp. So some people will take this down to 0, or you can go +1, +2. Most even iPhones have sharpening, but on the cameras, typically they're flat. Remember, it's uncompressed. You're gonna want a little bit of sharpening, and I'll be playing with this. And again, I'm looking at a 5-inch monitor right now, so it's really hard for me to adjust this camera. I could have adjusted earlier, but I wouldn't have been able to unbox it live. So contrast we touched, saturation. Again, I touched, we're gonna leave that at 60% approximately. And then we did zoom, compression. I've got shutter speed right here, and I have to turn auto off to mess with those. And that changed the ISO to 100. So I'd have to raise my lighting if I wanted to have the ISO at 100. I'd recommend that you try to get your lighting with this camera to get it down to 100. I bet that chip would perform better at 100 than it's going to. I think it was at, if I go to auto here, it auto adjusts to 49K instead of 5000K. So that's what the light sensor saw the settings should be. So we're gonna turn that back on automatic, and you guys can make a decision which shot you liked on automatic, or do you like it better at 4,000 or 5,000K. White balance is right around 4917, 4959, and as I move around the screen, it's changing the auto white balance. So I don't know if I'd like that, so I'd probably turn that off auto and just get the white balance that I want. And again, shutter speed, go back to automatic. It's going to go 1/64th, compression at 0, and it's doing center weighted for the exposure read. And it's at 1/40th a second to get the right exposure, and it's rocking right here automatically between about 131 ISO to 123. And it's actually moving. You should be able to see that right here on the screen. You may have to watch this back on a bigger monitor. Again, so sharpness, all that stuff you can adjust, reset it right here. And that's kind of a rock through the software. Up here, again, on the bottom, you have a video preview. You can turn it on and off. You can change the different resolutions. So again, you can go down to 640, 30 frames per second, 640 or 540, 60 frames per second, 720, 30 frames per second, 720, 60, 1080p, 30, 1080p, 60. So, and then again, I'm only streaming at just under 30 frames per second. So you're not going to see that. My ATEM will literally have to change this one input and convert it down to 30 frames per second. So I'm going to leave that at 30 frames per second to let my ATEM do less work. So that's the software. So we're going to cut back to me now, and I'll set up this side by side with the Logitech. So let me go into OBS, and you guys are going to have to just patiently wait for me. Go up to the Facecam, see if OBS sees it now, because I couldn't set OBS up with the input until I actually had a Facecam. And I didn't have to reboot OBS. It sees the Facecam. So I'm going to hit OK and see if it comes on. Not so far. I may have to reboot this. So one of the things I've noticed with OBS when I'm using it, sometimes it's persnickety. I know that if you have more than one scene and you have a camera on in the other scene, you can't really change that. Let me go back here in the chat. I just saw, Keith, I'm noticing a little jitter or jump in the Facecam video. Okay, good to know. I think that was when I was playing with the shutter speed, but we'll have to keep looking to see if that continues. DJ Ware has a YouTube channel, so good to have you on here. Canon XA10, which I loved, and it was good. Good to the last drop, that is. Wow, does that mean it's still alive? And an old camera, but a goodie. Okay, cool. So let me scroll up here into the comments. My other mouse. Panasonic G4 and also a Panasonic G7. That's DG Wear. So I'll have to kind of put those two together and figure that out. Huh. Okay. So you must have or talking to someone else about the other camera. So the XF105. Tony's been contemplating about getting a Panasonic G7. So you guys can read those texts in the chat. Freddie was impatient, wanting me to get to the unboxing and showing the software. So, okay, so I want to set up this OBS, and right now it's not working. So let me deactivate the Facecam. Activate the Facecam. Exit OBS, come back in OBS. Let's see if it's going to work for us tonight, guys. Again, I didn't have any opportunity to practice this because I didn't want to unbox the Facecam. And I have some faith it's going to work. I now lost my Logicam. So let's see what we can do here. So the laptop cam is working. The least one I care about tonight. Come on, guys, work for me. I did, add another USB jack. And I don't know if OBS and my laptop is having a hard time with that. Let me just save my settings in the flash memory of the Facecam. I'm going to minimize, I'm going to turn off video preview and minimize that software and see if that helps me here. I'll bring up OBS so you guys can see what I'm dealing with here. So let me come back up into my control software, change the input to desktop. This is less boring, guys. So here, let me switch to this camera angle. One more minor adjustment here before I make that camera live. Box 1 should be my camera. There we go. Okay, so again, I'm still on here. You can see what I'm doing with OBS. I set up this layout. They're all titled. I have OBS over here on my laptop now. And I should be, and I have the Facecam right here. Let me do this. Detect the Facecam. Configure video. Huh. There we go. Okay, so now we got to get the Logitech working. But here is a comparison of the Facecam in this screen, and I'll bring it full screen here in a second. Here is an example of those two side by side. On the top left is the Facecam. In the middle is my Asus 720p webcam, so it's not even the same resolution, but you can see why this is just really not usable. And Asus has very little software available that I've noticed to be able to adjust it. There is an app I think I can download, so I'm working on that. Then I got my Logitech up here, and it should, that's the graphic. Logitech's right here. Deactivate, activate. I'm going to change this from default. Back to I don't know why the Logitech is not firing up. Let me just make sure that it's not defaulting to another layout here. Interesting. Well, In a second, I'm going to see if I can switch it to one of these other outputs. So let's go right click. Let's go full screen on my laptop. Let me move this back over here so I'll be able to control it. Right click, full screen. Right there. So there is the Facecam versus the desk cam. And then let's see what happens if I switch. Let's turn this off. Huh. Maybe the Facecam has taken up all of the data. I do not know. So, and guys, I apologize that I can't seem to get the Logitech to work. I don't think it's that important. I just wanted you guys to be able to A/B the Facecam. So let's go from that look. Turn these off. Okay, I'm rebooting OBS. Rebooting OBS. Sorry, you're looking at my desktop. Trying to get this working. I can't get the side-by-side comparison to work on the C920 Logitech. For some reason, OBS is not participating tonight. The disadvantage of not getting all that set up ahead of time is that for some reason, when I use OBS, I have a hard time getting the web cameras to attach. As soon as I rebooted, it's right here. So let me go full screen with this. And then we'll switch back. So here you have two cameras side by side. Facecam up here in the big picture, and the small picture is my Canon 5D Mark IV. And so what we're going to do now is go into Super Source, and we're going to change the box size here real quickly. So that's my camera. So we'll go into box 2, which is the Elgato Facecam. We're going to shrink this down. I would not recommend you try this at home live so far. At least that's my recommendation. And again, if you are going to do these quick changes, you might want to use the Super Source layouts inside Mix Effects. And if Adam jumped on here tonight, he would be probably asking me why I'm not using it. So move these side by side. And in Mix Effects, you can actually drag and set them on there. So let's adjust my camera. Pretty close. I mean, the Facecam is sitting up a little bit higher, but here's a side-by-side comparison. I think my camera looks quite a bit better. I haven't completely had a chance to adjust all of the settings in the Facecam. So obviously making sure the exposure is right. I'm always working on my cameras in my studio, but here's a side-by-side comparison. When I do my video I'll upload this week, I will make sure there's a side-by-side between the Facecam and the C920, as well as my EOS R, which is right here. And I think I have a long enough USB-C cable to put that over there. But we spent so much time already in this one section. So let me know, guys, if you want to stay and have me continue to do that demo side by side. Right now, as you can see them, so I'll open up that software again. And make some adjustments side by side before we leave tonight, before we outrow. But again, without having a side-by-side comparison, which is what I would recommend you do on a big monitor. So what I'm doing right here, I would want to do on my 32-inch monitor and adjust this. So when I cut from this shot to an overhead shot, the camera and the exposure and all that stuff and the colors would be as close as they possibly can get. What I like about having just Canon or just Sony or just Panasonic or Lumix all in your studio is the color similarities that you're going to get when you have that. So, and then I'm even cutting to my iPhone. So I could go to my iPhone right now, and it has its own color and exposure. So all of these changes you have to be able to do prior to going live so that you're not messing with adjustments and all that during the live. But you can see that this camera, this Facecam, is a pretty nice camera. Just playing with it out of the box, I like the picture that popped up on my laptop. And I've seen my picture many times on my laptop, especially when I was using my Logitech. And again, I have a cam link, so I could take my 5D Mark III or my EOS R or my Canon 5D Mark IV, which you're looking at right now, and I could plug in out of the HDMI cable into this cam link by Elgato, bring it into a USB 3 port. I could stream 4K in this, 1080p in this, and I've used that as well, and I've seen the picture in OBS on my desktop, and you could use Streamlabs and all the other software out there. So this is what it looks like side by side with my Canon 5D Mark IV, and with the lights in the background, kind of going with the blue theme tonight with the still as well as the room here. I have everything in the back. My MC lights by Aperture, which are on the little shelf right there over my shoulder. And then there's one, actually you can't see, just below the TV. Now you can see it. And then I have my 50 RSs from great video maker, GVM. They're up in the back, and they're set at kind of a blue as well. So, okay, so that's kind of the Elgato Facecam. We looked at the Camera Hub software. Want to make sure, again, it's got a field of view of 82 degrees. It's got a 24 millimeter lens, fixed focus. So from about a foot away from that Facecam to 3 feet back, you're safe, and you could be a little bit further than that. I haven't tested it up close. I will have it live next week with me as my downward camera on my desk. You have the 24 millimeter lens, 2.4 aperture. The focus range officially is 11.8 inches to 47.2 inches. It's an optical prime lens, all glass, and does 1080p 60 all the way down to 540 at 30 frames per second. It weighs like 1/20th of a pound, according to the specs. The dimensions is 79 inches wide, 48 inches high, 48 centimeters high, sorry, and 58 millimeters deep. Again, width is 79 millimeters. I apologize. That would have been huge camera inches. Again, it's got flash memory built in, USB-C 3.0 port, uncompressed video. It's beautiful little camera. It wasn't near as heavy as I thought it was going to be. Super light in my hands. You have the ability to put this mount on it, to use it on a camera or set it on a shelf. Like I have my shelves right here. I've done downward facing cameras. I've also used my Canon, not my Canon, my Logitech C920 to shoot my desk, all my little characters on my desk. And I've used that before in my intro reel. Thought that was cool. And again, I'm always bringing in my webcams into OBS and then full screening that. And you can right click on whatever your program is and choose what monitor you want to send it to, full screen or windowed. And if you do windowed, you're going to get that tiny bar on the top. If you don't do windowed, if you do full screen, make sure you have the software OBS on the other screen. I've done that. That's not fun. Okay, so in my hands right here, segue, I have some new in-ear monitors. So obviously when you're checking your stream or sitting in here working, editing music, I usually use my JBL speakers. Let me get my mobile camera here so you guys can kind of see the lay of the land. And I'm gonna switch back to this camera here. Show you my JBLs here. What just happened? Camera 3. There we go. So here's my JBL speakers. These are studio speakers. They're really flat. You can actually shoot the room. And then I have a sub down here. I can turn that sub on and off. And so usually, guys, that's what I'm going to be mixing with, or headphones like these. These are my Sennheisers, and these are 280 Pros, which come highly recommended for just listening, and they're under $100 typically. And then I have a bunch of these wore out M50s, and they need to be replaced. These are, get the picture here, M50s by Audio-Technica. And so I got those two JBL speakers, and then I have headphones, but I wanted to get some in-ear monitors just because I could. Switch this over. I'm going to put it back up here. Because I wanted to be able to listen to some music. I want to be able to monitor the audio when I'm doing like a Zoom call and not have my headphones on. I don't want the speakers on when I'm doing a Zoom call. I don't want any feedback. So if I'm doing training, I'll be using these. These are this brand right here, which is Moondrops. The Moondrops are pretty popular right now. A lot of gamers are buying these, getting rid of their regular headphones and putting in-ear monitors in. And they're actually, most of them that I've seen right now are pretty excited about the Arias, which my son purchased. And when actually my oldest boy, Christopher, needed some for his gigging, and so we gifted him a pair of headphones. They were Audio-Technicas, I believe, and that got me thinking about it. Then my son told me he bought some Arias by Moondrop, and so I started listening to some in-ear monitors on YouTube, and was pretty impressed with the Moondrop Arias. And then I discovered the Starfields, and these are Starfields, and they're gorgeous little headphones. They got kind of painting on them, and I love them. And I've been listening to them for the last couple days. There's a link in the description below, and I kind of like these, and so that's been in my studio. And I wanted something that was really flat. I do a lot of editing, and video was just choppy all of a sudden. Hopefully the stream's okay. So let me switch back here. I'm lost. What do I got here? I want to go to camera 2. So I had the Facecam up there on the screen. And again, this looks pretty flat tonight, so I apologize. So again, I like these. This is a great choice. Just streamed for a while from the Facecam Elgato. Now I'm back on my Canon 5D Mark IV, but I'm not sure if that's focusing. My face is probably taking up the focus, but I really like these. I think if I turn my Canon 5D Mark III back on because it timed out, I can cut to that camera. Let's see if it pops up. Cut to that. So move the microphone a little bit out of my way. So here they are. Got my cheater notes there, but nice little in-ears, and they came with 3 different sizes of these little rubber earpieces, and you can change them. So 3 sets, and they're different shapes. So you have small, medium, and large. And then it came with this cable, and I have it plugged into my Rodecaster Pro right now to monitor audio. But again, I really like these, and we're going to do an unboxing here, and you'll be able to see close-ups and stuff like that in that unboxing. So in-ear monitors have been around a long time. Music artists use them all the time. They usually have a wireless pack, and they're going to get their own mix now, and they do everything that way. And now that you're in studios and you guys are starting to use sound mixers inside your studio, like I have the Rodecaster Pro, which isn't super high quality. If you're an audiophile, you would probably get something a lot nicer. Aaron Parecki just announced that he added a Behringer, I believe, to his studio, if I remember right. And he did some demos of that, talked about it in his live stream on Sunday. But I've been using the Rodecaster Pro. I like the fact that it has music MIDI buttons on it. You can program them. I use it for podcasting. It's just really simple to use for podcasting, having people in the studio. So I really like that solution for me here in the studio. So having in-ear monitors or short IEMs, there's lots of them available. You can walk into most of the stores like Best Buy and see them there, Walmart, Target, all of those places, wherever those kind of electronic stores are. But I wanted to do some online research and do some listening. I also listened to some online samples of the Legacy 2s. They sound really good. What I liked about the Starfields was that it brings the vocals right up front. And it's a little less bass heavy, but it's kind of more balanced from both the low frequencies all the way up to the highs. My sons have a little boost in the bass, and the vocals seem to drop back just a little bit. And I did a lot of engineering, mixing, mastering, and I like the vocals right in the center ahead of the music so that you can hear the words very clearly, and that's not true with how you mix all music. But if you're just kind of listening to easy listening music and you want to hear a vocal, then these Starfields really, really are nice. And so the unboxing will be available here very shortly. You're also going to hear my son's impression. We A-B'd each other's headphones, but this is inside the case, and it's got this little packet to put the headphones in. I probably won't be storing them there unless I do some traveling. I'll take them with me. And then I've got my little choices, and I'm still getting used to what size fits me better, but that's a nice little, little container that I can hold those in. So I have links to both my son's Moondrop Arias, and those are associate links, affiliate links with Amazon. So if you click on them, I would really appreciate the support of the channel. You don't pay any more, but it does support us. Cool box. They do anime on all their boxes, and this is the most subtle box I think they have. And it actually said, Starfields, listen to the sound of stars. I don't know how you do that, but I guess if you buy Starfields, they're about a 108 US, and the earbuds that my son got, IEMs, were about 80, 86 bucks, depending on where you get them on Amazon. So check the links in the description. I also have a link to the early release training on how to use the Video Hub software. That's in the description. A link to Elgato's Facecam main page. A bunch of different links to the different type mounts that I'm using, the flex arms, the new mount that Elgato just came out with. In fact, I unboxed this today. And I didn't do it live. I didn't want to mess up our live stream by not having this already hooked up. And again, it's right here. It's what is supporting with a flex arm on it. It's what's supporting right now the Facecam. So I needed this out of the box. And I just wanted choices of where to put this camera. And so I'm going to pull it right now. Sorry about the hand in the shot. And see if it'll reach over here to the other side. I need to untangle this cable. I think we're going to be able to reach just fine. I'm gonna switch cameras here. Actually, let me get this ready to go on the desktop. Let's see if we have that super source still available to us. Do I? Yes. So let's go. Box 1 is my camera. Box 2 is the Facecam. So desktop, and let's switch cameras in box 1 to the EOS R. Looking good. So here we go. Here is a side-by-side Facecam on the left and my EOS R on the right. So Facecam's angled up just a little weird. Let's adjust that. And again, you can see there's some adjustments that need to be made to get these two pictures to match. But I actually had a arm over here from Elgato, the one that I normally would have if I was using a desk clamp for my second key light. This key light for my hair light is on the stand, and I'm using this and just one section of flex to be able to do this. And my camera here is a little darker on my EOS R, which is on the right, and the left is the Facecam. So here's a side-by-side with the EOS R. Freddie asked me last week why I don't use my EOS R all the time. And that's because it's for this angle, and I do a lot of my meetings with friends and stuff from this angle, and I try to use the other angle for my live stream. So it just gives me two different views. And so I can shoot down this wall, I can have my characters up here and I light them up. It just gives me a different view in the studio. One of these nights I do a live stream, I will live stream from this way. So we have unboxed the Facecam from Elgato. We've talked about the specs, and I think I've covered all of them. The things that I like is that they invested for $200 everything in things I think that really matter, and that's picture quality, this lens, the sensor, which is a CMOS Sony sensor that's being used at other cameras. It's wide enough in my opinion. Right now you can see side by side. I am usually shooting closer up, so normally this camera would be like this, and so I would get that Facecam a little closer to me if I was using it, and again it'll focus in that plane of 3 feet, so 1 foot away from it, which is right about here, all the way to 3 feet, which is right about here. So back to my back wall. So all of these characters should be in focus, and I should be able to zoom into them from that Facecam in the software. But again, you lose resolution if you zoom in. So if you're gonna do that, you would wanna be shooting 60 frames per second and get the best resolution before you zoom in at all. And then I have my EOS R, and typically my EOS R is going to be right up in my grill like this, and I'm gonna fill the frame, have my microphone right here, and then I have a little music stand I can put right here as more desk, because my desk doesn't L on this side, it L's on this side, and on the bottom down here I have a little table that's about this big, and it sits about that much further down than the desk, and that lets me hide my other laptop, not my other laptop, but my other keyboard, so I can use it to adjust the other camera. And you notice tonight I never did turn on my background. I got so busy, so I don't have my big screen TV on. I usually have that on one of the screensavers. So I like the fact that this is detachable on the Facecam, so I can hook it up to all these different type attachments I have in my studio. That's huge for me. My C920 has it underneath this little adjustment, but I like that this comes off, and I could just simply use it with a tripod, a ball mount, all that kind of stuff. And again, we covered the Moondrop STARFIELDs just a little bit, told you why I purchased them. I want to have some in-ear monitors for when I'm on a conference call or checking the live stream. And I have set up my desk now to where I can take those in-ears, have them on, plug them into my HybridDeck. I can plug them into my ATEM Mini Pro, and I have a splitter, so it's also channel 1 of my Pro is also in my headphones, so I can switch back and forth between my my Starfields, in-ear monitors, or headphones. And I can do the same thing with my Stream Deck, and I may do the same thing with my HybridDeck HD Studio or HD Plus, Studio HD Plus, because it has a headphone jack, and I have a 1/8" adapter right now. I'm plugged in, so 1/4" to 1/8" adapter, so I can plug in my Starfields by Moondrop in there as well. So again, the Facecam is going to take some work to see if it's going to be the right solution for me. I wanted you guys to see what $200 from Elgato will purchase. Again, I will make some adjustments, have that in my upload this week, and you're going to see the best picture that I can get out of it side by side with my EOS R, and I can just record this angle, move it over to my 5D Mark IV side by side, edit all that in, as well as the unboxing we did tonight, and then do my own intro and outro from that event. So I hope you guys liked those two things that we were able to do. We could move it around. I demoed some other stuff here too. Again, the Flex Arm and the Elgato new products that are available as well. I'm not sponsored by Elgato. I just like the fact that this stuff integrates, and I'm looking forward to testing out the Stream Deck with the Facecam, and you can do adjustments on the fly, and which is great. So if you had a battery go out and you didn't have a replacement battery for a light, you could adjust your Facecam on the fly. So I think that's cool. And I believe you can turn it on and off, and I'll be working with those options here very shortly. This camera angle is driving me crazy. A little better. So Facecam next to EOS R, side by side, OBS, desktop showing inside my live stream through SuperSource. That's crazy. So let's cut back to camera 2. Get ready to do our outro reel. I want to do questions. So grab my iPhone. Hopefully it's not dead. And let's look at the chat and wrap this up with any questions you have. So if you have any questions right now, this would be a great time to ask those. And I want to cover those questions right now. So anything about the Moondrops, which is a Chinese company. Since about 2015, they came on the scene. They're doing a great job. Their stuff sounds really cool for the money. Great value compared to a lot of the competition. And there's the Bose, there's the Sonys, there's the new AirPod Pros, and there's lots of comparisons online with those. If you just look for sound test, when you're searching for Moondrop products, you're going to be able to hear a couple videos where they actually did sound tests. You can put your headphones on and listen to the difference. I actually listened to the difference on my JBL speakers tuned in my room, and that helped me make a choice that I like the Starfields the best. And they really kind of sounded exactly like the demo did, because I had really good speakers to reference them. Even though when you have speakers on, you get a lot more room noise. When you have or sound canceling headphones on, you're not getting the room reverb. So keep that in mind. Earbuds don't let a lot of outside room noise come in. So, okay, so in the chat, we have DJ Ware, Craig, Tony, we have Freddie, and Hank. Just looking through here. Who am I missing? Conjoling is on. And I think that's everybody. So let's see if there's any questions here. Hi, Keith. Sorry I'm late. I appreciate that. You can come anytime and watch the whole video back. Freddie, I'm sorry, I must go, my friend. See you later, Freddie. If you watch this back, I did get your note. Thanks for the info. I'm thinking using for key and fill, so don't need the additional colors of the 100X. And I think that's comment to Craig. Yeah, I was streaming at a little higher bit rate tonight to try to lower the latency. So I'll be watching it back to see if that had some issues. So I appreciate that question. It's a legit question. Closing my OBS desktop. So again, I think these tools are interesting. Obviously the cameras that I'm using now are really good quality. You just have to make sure you adjust them right, get your light right, don't get yourself overexposed. Today, I really spent a lot of time on these other tools, getting things set up. So hopefully this picture looks decent, and I apologize if it doesn't. And a little glitch starting up tonight. I am having some issues to wrap this up tonight with my 3G converters. So from my HybridDeck Mini, I've been having issues with the sound dropping out. Now I can't seem to do firmware updates. That also was true with the venue I was at last week. We couldn't update those as well. I could update the newer converters that have a USB-C input just fine. Also, I've been having some issues recording in my ATEM Extreme ISO. I don't know what it is, but I noticed after the firmware update this week to the control software that all of a sudden my program video, because the ISO records the ISO tracks if you have it turned on, and then it also records the program, all the cuts and all that I made. So it records that. That came out as a real low resolution. I thought I had it fixed yesterday by going back a version of the software, and I did a recording. It worked fine. And then today I did a test to look at lip sync, and I noticed that the video was low resolution again. The ISO tracks are fine if you want to re-edit everything or bring in the XML file and edit in Blackmagic Design software. But if you not do, and I use Adobe, I usually just edit in what I want to add and cover up just from the other ISO tracks when I'm editing. So I don't know what I'm going to do now. I like that program view to streamline recordings in the studio. If I make all my cuts right, I can just fix them or add different camera angles in post because it's not live. And so I'm going to try to figure that out. I haven't emailed Blackmagic Design yet, but I wanted to give you guys a shout out. I'll be interested to see if anybody else out there that has a ATEM Mini Extreme ISO is having problems with the program recording. I think it's streaming fine tonight. That's going through the internet. The USB-C to OBS looked fine. I checked that tonight. The program, I just having issues with the recording of just the program track. All the other ISO tracks that I actually have live look good. I will be checking those out tonight, and I'll report to you guys next week. And if I hear anything from Blackmagic Design, you guys will be the first to know live next Tuesday. So Elgato Facecam, my final insights tonight is that you got to make sure you get it adjusted. And I do like the looks of traditional DSLRs, both mirrorless and non-mirrorless cameras a lot better. I do like the color science in the Canons, but again, I would be happy with a Sony A6400, which has been around for a number of years now, and lots and lots of people are using that. There's Panasonics, there's Lumix cameras, there's lots of brands out there that are great for in studio. You just got to decide what your budget is. And there's some newer, smaller cameras that have just come out lately that there's lots of videos out there, and you can look at those as well. They have a clean HDMI out. They don't time out, and that's one of the most important things about a camera. So you can use a webcam. Get the best one you can. See if this Facecam by Elgato is the best one for you, if that's in your budget for $200. And then again, there is no HDMI out of it, so it's going to have to come into a Mac or a PC through a USB 3.0 port and be streamed through software that way rather than through your show. But you can bring it into that PC or Mac